everyone, I'm Ryan, you're watching 60 Cycle Hum, and I'm back with my Harley Benton MS-60 modding project here. Quick recap for everyone who hasn't watched the previous videos. I swapped the stock Tune-O-Matic bridge with a really cheap Mustang style bridge here. I think it was like an $11 bridge or whatever. Trying to get some more tuning stability with the tremolo here. It worked for the most part, and I actually feel like I prefer the tone and the vibe of this guitar now with a new bridge. I also relicked the body by shaking it around in a Rubbermaid tub full of metal bits and belt buckles and screws and bolts and stuff, and I got a nice hashtag natural relic here on this body. I also polished down that shine with some steel wool to make it nice and matte and get some, you know, little like hairlines throughout the finish and whatnot. And then someone challenged me to cut a pick guard for as cheap and accessible as I could. They wanted to see someone make a pick guard without tools like routers and, you know, fancy stuff like that. So I got a $2 cafeteria tray off of Amazon, and I used a $10 coping saw to cut a pick guard for this. That was the last video. And since then, I've reassembled it. It's all ready to play. It's a decent player, and it's got a functioning pickup in there now. I threw in this Fender wide range humbucker that came out of a newer guitar, and a lot of people warned me. They're like, hey, that's not going to be the good wide range humbucker, not like in the vintage ones. You should really track down a vintage one or order, you know, this $200 set from this company or, you know, whatever. This is a $115 guitar. I don't care. I'm not going to drop big money into a $115 guitar, even though I've dropped a bunch of time and effort into it and $20-something worth of parts. I'm not going to drop a $200 pickup into this guitar, ever. So anyways, I have this newer wide range humbucker that Grant Wilson from Big Ear NYC gifted to me. It's in there now. I put it at a hilariously offensive angle here. I'm sure all sorts of people are just clenching their teeth and grinding their jaws looking at this. And you know, I'm paying the consequences for my hubris here, for just leaning into this bizarre direction. I'm getting a little bit less output on the high E string with the pickup in this position. It's just not underneath the pickup enough, or the string's not over the pickup enough to get the same output that the high B does. Also, it's just a little bit duller, not as chimey or bright as twangy as I would like in this position. If I did it in a standard, you know, humbucker position on the bridge there, just straight across, I'm sure it would be fine. Other than that, it's a fine sounding pickup. There's nothing like exciting or exotic sounding about it. It just sounds kind of like a, you know, a thuddy, warm humbucker. I will say things that I learned while reassembling this after cutting a pickguard by hand, mostly eyeballing it. I should have planned ahead and mounted this Mustang control panel here with screws before cutting the paper guide for the pickguard. It had to move around a little bit and to accommodate the pots and the output jack and stuff like that. I had to put in a bit of wood to give this last screw here something to grab into. And by the time I was doing all that, it no longer lined up with the cut I had planned to meet with the control plate. So I had to cut this little bit off here. Also, I pretty much eyeballed the pickup placement. I knew I wanted it to be wild, and I just kind of figured this is a big pickup and it'll probably fit somewhere underneath everything. And I got it hilariously wrong. The pickup was drifted way out from underneath the strings. The low E didn't even have the pickup under it, if I remember correctly. So I had to cut off this bit of the pick guard so I could rotate it around and shift the whole thing into a placement where the pickup would be under the strings completely. You live and you learn. $2 pickup, $2 pick guard project. I can't be too disappointed. I eyeballed the whole thing and just kind of flew by the seat of my pants. But I still have half a cafeteria tray left, so I could easily cut a new pick guard for this thing. I'll probably do that with different pickups in this as well. All right, let's check out the sound of it so you can hear what I'm talking about. You can hear that like difference of volume between the high B and the high E. That high E just sounds a little bit thin. Probably wouldn't bother most people. But I ride my high strings a lot, so it's a bigger deal for me. I'll definitely be putting a different pickup in here in a more traditional position. Let's check it out with some drive. Here's a light drive from my 50-50. Here's some higher gain from the 50-50. And here is some really heavy fuzz from the De La Riva by Ren & Cuff. So that's it. That's what it sounds like now. I will say the best thing I've done for it so far is that action and intonation and truss adjustment that I did to it. I was just sitting on the couch, messing around with it, late night watching TV. The thing I like to do when I'm adjusting the truss is hold the strings down at the 12th fret and then pluck it behind where I'm fretting. And I just like it to be right about where the string starts to buzz on those frets, just to get it nice and low. And then I adjust the bridge accordingly to have the action that I want. It's a lot better playing now. It still feels like a sub $200 guitar in a lot of ways. But getting the action nice and fast definitely bumped it up a notch as far as player guitars go. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me rude and nasty comments. Let me know what you think I should do with this guitar in the future. I have an idea for kind of what I want to do for its final form. There's a band that I've been a big fan of my entire life, and they have a very specific guitar setup. And I've been thinking I'd like to set this up to be that kind of specific guitar setup, just so I can have it around to have my own fun. I'm not going to give any other hints, but if you want to take a few cracks at guessing, do it down below. If you have ideas that you want to see me do to this guitar, feel free to comment that too. All right, bye everybody.